Let's jump to this story from the New York Times. So this is the headline they use. Trump confirms plans to use the military to assist in mass deportations. They then go on to mention building detention centers. And this is where the story gets hot. In it, they actually write, let me read it for you. One major impediment to the vast deportation operation that the Trump team has promised in his second term is that the Immigration and Customs Enforcement lacks the space to hold a significantly larger number of detainees. That has sometimes led to allowing asylum seekers into the country while they await court dates with immigration judges, a practice critics deride as catch and release. The Trump team believes that such camps could enable the government to accelerate deportations of undocumented people who fight their expulsion from the country. The idea is that more people would voluntarily accept removal instead of pursuing a long-shot effort to remain in the country if they had to stay locked up in the interim. Asked about the proposal, Sabrina Singh, a spokeswoman for Pentagon, declined to comment, calling it a hypothetical. But this is where the story is now being seeded. The narrative created by the New York Times is to nudge in a detention facility, then camp. Next, you will see activist outlets start reporting. New York Times says Donald Trump will build camps to round up asylum seekers. And this is the birth of their new narrative. You have seen it here first, ladies and gentlemen. So should this blossom into a big fake news hoax like they often do, you know where it came from.
You know, they use the word camp very readily. The word camp brings illusion of the Nazi concentration camps, obviously.
That's the point.
During COVID, we talked a lot about in Australia, they had a facility that they were like, come stay at our facility. You can't leave, by the way. They would lock people in. And so I think Tim and I, we would both talk about calling them camps for fun because it's like, hey, let's like go outside the box here. But good luck getting the New York Times to start calling it a camp. Only when the narrative suits them will they use that word.
Exactly. So during Obama, he built detention facilities. When they then talk to Trump's administration and say, yeah, we'll probably use these facilities, they then say camps. They're trying to set the stage for Donald Trump is going to use the military to travel around rounding up asylum seekers to put them in camps. We predicted this. Okay. Trump deporting people here illegally is just following the law, but they want to turn it into Trump is Hitler.
Yeah, there's a clip of the new guy that's going to be in charge of the border talking with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Tom Homan. And she was like, they're seeking asylum. He's like, then they should go through a legal port of entry. That's the method. Otherwise,
that shouldn't be any kind of controversy.
No, yeah, exactly. It's not. But for some reason, so these people aren't technically if they're here and they say I'm seeking asylum, they're not technically seeking asylum until they go through the legal port of entry to seek asylum. They're seeking asylum. That's different.
They were invited though. That's the sad part.
Well, Kamala did say don't come.
Well, before that, they were invited, and we created sanctuary cities, right? And we created the program of asylum. So there was a big invitation and a big bow on our border that said, hey, come on in. And then when Trump came, a lot of people stopped coming.
Almost immediately, too.
Just his appearance, just knowing that he was going to be the guy in the White House, right? So we're going to see the same thing. We're going to see a decline in people crossing the border, et cetera, et cetera.
So I think this might be the clip that's been going viral. Let me play it.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father from his
Mr. Holman,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay. Mr. Chair, the memo is submitted to...
It is a violation of 8 USC, what do you say, 35. And isn't it great when she's like, legal asylees?
Mm-hmm. And so you go through the port of entry,
no crime.
You do it the legal way, and she immediately retracted. She was like, oh, he's right. I was wrong.
Their worldview is fake. Now AOC is playing this whole, are there any podcasts you Trump voters listen to? I want some recommendations. Oh, here we go.
Oh, well, that's promising. I don't necessarily trust her, but that's promising.
Is she up for a grifty?
She's definitely up for it. Grifties.com. Go vote for her. She's definitely with that move. Absolutely.
If we can get her on here, you want her to come on here?
Our booking is talking to AOC's people.
Yeah, she's top, dude. Because she is there to represent the people. And if the people have spoken, it's her duty.
She said people in her district voted for Trump. and her. And she was like, how is that possible? And then she says this thing about like, we got to go knock on doors because the internet, if you think everybody just lives in this world, you're wrong. And I'm like, look, if you solicit a subset of people in your audience, you'll find it. If I said to the audience, if you guys out there are eating celery with peanut butter and raisins on it, I want to hear from you because that's disgusting. I'm getting a bunch of messages from people who are going to say they love, what is it called? Ants on a log or something?
Oh, yeah.
And it's disgusting. Raisins and celery. Ugh. And people are going to say, I love it. It's great. Then I can show you 10 comments and be like, look at all these people who love this. Wow. Everyone loves this stuff. That's basically what she's doing. Yeah. So if she wants to go and find Trump supporting podcasts or whatever, good for her. She needs to expand her horizon and get out of her fake news bubble.
But that's been the problem with the left is they weren't listening.
No, they were determined to tell people how they were supposed to think.
Yeah, we couldn't have discourse, dialogue. I've been struggling to have any discourse with a leftist of any kind.
Yeah, they won't do it.
They won't. They just won't do it. And I think a lot of that is, it's like. What do they tell their people? It's like, if you talk to them, you're platforming.
Yep.
Right.
And it's just like, it's speaking to these people. They don't deserve a conversation.
Yes.
They're so evil that you can't have a conversation. If you have a conversation, then you're supporting evil. So again, it just comes back to that whole fear thing and saying, if you talk to them, we'll cancel you.
Yeah.
For even talking to them. So
Seems like that echo chamber has been shattered and that anyone of relevance from that community is now open to communicating across platforms. There are still segments of people that are just locked in their brains, but I don't know any of them that have any relevance socially beyond like their little Facebook group of getting 68 likes on their comment from their cult of friends.
Did you say that? Repeat what you said. I'm sorry.
That echo chamber of like they're evil, don't platform that has been shattered now, and it's kind of hinging on us not to recreate the echo chamber subconsciously by being like, hey, wait, you're supposed to be in an echo chamber. What's that?
Inhingent?
Yeah, I like that word.
Incumbent?
All of it. Yeah, it hinges on us to not recreate subvertedly the echo chamber because there's an opening now. And what I was saying is a lot of the people that are still stuck, I see, don't have any podcasts. They don't have any relevant following that I know of.
The thing about the echo chamber.
Yeah, the ones that are still stuck in the echo chamber, I don't really see anybody with
people like Hassan.
I don't know.
Hassan's like one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, like Destiny and other massive streamers. Like
interesting.
He's a
so there might be a
far left guy. So
a couple of dudes. He's got a huge following.
The thing about the echo chamber is it was also designed digitally. Uncle Hotep showed the other day that Gabrielle Union had him blocked. And I said, I know how she had you blocked. And what they do is they have, the block list. You can upload the block list. They're doing it on that other app now.
Yeah, Blue Sky.
Yeah. So they actually say, you're one of us here. If you're one of us, upload this list. So you never even hear these voices. Mm-hmm. And it creates a wall between you and them, so their people can't even hear you. You don't get that type of tweets, you don't get that type of content, you get the retweets, et cetera, et cetera. So they've built a digital wall between their followers and us.
Powerful technology.
Yeah, but it doesn't work when you're dealing with viral streamers like Aiden Ross, Kai Cenat, and all those guys. Those guys break those barriers. And Gen Z, like I was talking to my son, and he said, "Where you going?" I said, "I'm going to Timcast." He's like, "Oh, I know Timcast." And he's 15 years old. I'm like, "How the heck do you know Timcast?" And he thought it was cool, but it shows you Gen Z is paying attention. They're not on Twitter. Gen Z is on the streaming sites, and those streaming sites are leaning way more conservative, and nobody liberal really has a strong
Well, they got that
following.
adpocalypse now. We talked about this the other day. Twitch streamers are losing like 90% of their revenue. It's just evaporating.
And X just got all the ads start coming back in.
Ching.
And this show's lit up like ×2 views. I'm checking in. It's like 78,000 live viewers as opposed to the 48,000.
61,000 right now.
Yeah. And there was like 80,000, 90,000 ever since the election. I don't know if Alphabet's like, it's time just lay off all this weird censorship stuff, or if more people are coming, or if it's a combo.
I think the popular vote victory terrifies them. Look, they're scared of the left canceling them. So they just say, do what the left wants. Once they realize they're on the wrong side of history, they panic and say, quick, to the other side, to the other side. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, our ratings are through the roof. Advertisers are knocking on the doors. All the big advertisers are like, we want in. There's a lot more going on behind the scenes, but Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.